Welcome back to Talkpoint. Today we take a closer look at one of the most pressing issues facing the United States economy, the federal debt scaling. Lawmakers in Washington remain deadlocked, raising fears of a potential government default that could shake markets and impact everyday Americans. What's at stake, and why can't Congress reach an agreement? Let's break it down. Infographics showing US debt levels over time, animation of money flowing in and out of government accounts. The debt ceiling is essentially a legal cap set by Congress on how much the federal government can borrow to pay its bill, from social security and military salaries to interest on anxiety debt. Right now, the US has already reached that limit, and the Treasury Secretary has warned that without immediate actions, the government could default within weeks. A default could trigger higher interest rates, stock market turmoil, and even impact global financial stability. Footage of lawmakers debating split screen of Democrats and Republicans, charts showing partial divide. Congress is deeply divided. Democrats are pushing for an increase with minimal conditions, emphasizing that failing to raise the ceiling could harm millions of Americans. Republicans, on the other hand, are demanding spending cuts and fiscal reforms instead for any increase. This Persian gridlock has created a high-stakes standoffs with negotiators racing against the clock. Animated scenario showing what happens if the US defaults, including falling credit ratings, bank closure, and market volatility. The consequences of a default are severe. Credit rating agencies could downgrade the US government's rating, borrowing costs would rise, and interest rates are on everything from mortgage to car loans could spike. Even government programs like Social Security or Medicare could face delays in payments. Economists warn that the ripple effects would not just hit Washington. Everyday Americans and the global economy could feel the impact. Treasury Department press conference, clips of market reactions, Wall Street signs showing volatility. The Treasury is exploring emergency measures, sometimes called extraordinary measures, to temporarily extend borrowing authority. These steps can delay a default for a few weeks, but they are not a permanent solution. Experts emphasize that Congress must act decisively before these measures run out. Interviews on stock footage of economists, financial analysts, and Persian leaders. Many economists argue that the debt ceiling itself is a political tool rather than a necessary economic safeguard. They point out that the government already owes the money. The ceiling only limits the ability to pay it. Failure to raise it is essentially a choice to default on obligations already incurred. This is unusual situation has led to heightened tension on Capitol Hill and uncertainty in the markets. Animation showing possible compromise scenarios, partial spending cuts, temporary debt increases, Persian agreements. Some lawmakers are exploring compromise proposals, including temporarily increases to the debt ceiling period with long-term spending reforms. However, with the time running out, both sides face intense pressure. Public opinion is also weighing in. Polls suggest Americans are frustrated with the political stalemate and concerned about economic fallout. Mortgage of US capital, stock markets, everyday Americans, and families paying bills. The debt ceiling debate is more than just a political showdown. It's a potential turning point that could affect everything from the personal finance to the global economy. Lawmakers are racing against the clock, and the coming days will determine whether the US averts a historic default. Stay tuned to Talkpoint for the latest update on the involving story. Thanks for watching. Talkpoint. Comment below, what do you think Congress should do to resolve the debate, selling prices, and don't forget to subscribe to Talkpoint for daily news coverage that keeps you informed.